Good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday. You are hearing the voice of Danielle Gilbert, your virtual HR assistant, HR strategist, and I am live here on the mic with Mike King Biz. Good morning, Mike. How's it going?
Good morning, Danielle. Welcome to Monday, everybody. What we do is we bring you the best and the brightest. Danielle Gilbert, serial entrepreneur, visionary, mama,
Panure?
momager. What is that? Like a mamapreneur? You're
I've heard mamapreneur. I haven't heard all kind of variations of the mama word. So I
okay.
don't, whatever your heart desire to call me this morning, I'm willing to go with it. Cause look, I done call myself the HR assistant this morning. It's too early in the morning, but I'm your virtual HR strategist. Let
That's
me
what
make
you
sure
are.
I
That's
clear up
what
the
you do.
title.
So you are here to talk not only just HR, but all those other things. But before we got to get to that, so we just touched on the mamapreneur, momager thing.
Mhm.
You're the HR lady. You keep us compliant. How come there are no names like that for dad? You ever notice that what we get called is Joe Jackson or or the other, Beyonce's dad? There's nothing flattering about being the dadapreneur.
Well, Mike, I think since this is a business show, I think what you should do is come up with the idea of creating a word for dads that work that are in the entrepreneur space, such as yourself, and make that your thing and run with it. Maybe
Okay,
you can create a t-shirt line
like
called
you're like
Dadpreneurs.
like you did with, and it's also protecting the intellectual property, what we talked about last
Absolutely.
week. Hashtag twin life.
Absolutely.
Okay, what?
Absolutely.
Okay, tell folks about it. Tell folks about you.
Okay, so a little bit about me. I guess you could call me, I call myself a serial entrepreneur, but as Mike said, I'm a mompreneur because I have the pleasure of being the mother of twin girls called Mariah and Mackenzie. They're the owners of M&M Creative Arts, where they literally customize their jewelry. They have homemade slime. They have their own natural lip gloss and nail polish line, double sassy lip gloss, and then they got Twin Life nail polish. They are working on a subscription box. They will soon be live on Walmart.com.
Woohoo!
And yeah, woohoo for that. And Twin Life is now trademark. So we can use that on our intellectual property because it is very important that as you are building your brand and building things around your brand that you protect that. So the mompreneur of me comes in because I just have the pleasure and the honor of really being the co-owner of M&M Creative Arts, where I'm literally guiding two beautiful 9-year-old twins to create a legacy of their own and knowing that they can be whatever their heart desires.
On the mic with my game changer, Danielle Gilbert is here with us. I posted the other day about when we were at the Crossroads Art Center doing the commercial. And they came out and said, "Hi, I'm Mackenzie. I'm Mariah." And they were shooting the commercial. And that seems like a lifetime ago. But in reality, they've grown into being business people. You help them along. You're co owners of the business with them, but they're understanding the
Yes.
fundamentals of business. And that wasn't that long ago.
It was not, Mike. That first time we shot that commercial and being part of the youth business exchange children's fair. We were there since the inception of it and learning and seeing how they kind of like enjoyed connecting with the people, the customers that they were serving that particular day, and then shooting a commercial and being on camera and talking kind of was almost like I had to nurture that. And I saw that they possessed a gift of being able to be creative, but also not just being creative, but having the business mind and wanting to say, Mom, I want to write a book. Mom, I want to do this. And so when you have children or a child who has a gift, as a mother or father, just nurture it and really take that to heart that you have someone, a small, what I call a seed that has now grown into young youthpreneurs, right? They are youthpreneurs who have really started to understand the business foundation and how they can literally create this and grow this into a multi-million-dollar business. Like we don't put caps on anything that we do as a Gilbert family. The Gilbert Group LLC has many DBAs, but we have so many other things that we do because we are truly wanting to make sure that when it all is said and done, they do not have to go work a 9 to 5 if they do not choose to. If they say, Mommy, I don't want to go work for someone else, I want to grow my business, that's what I want them to have the option to do.
Okay, really quickly. So we're going to get into the topic that you want to talk about today, but give the listeners the idea of the things that fall under the Gilbert LLC, because you guys got a number of things happening there. We don't chase cash.
No, we don't. Because we manifest everything that we want in life, right? It's the power of manifestation. So under the Gilbert Group LLC, you have the Creative Designs by Danielle, which is a custom t-shirt branding company where literally we customize masks, totes, t-shirts, you name it, we can customize it for you. You have the Gilbert's Mobile Transportation, which is my husband's business. He owns a mobile company. So if you need mechanic work, I've never had to work on my car, never taken it to a dealership, so I don't
always
know
a great thing to have that man.
Yes,
I need that man.
So he's a blessing, but he has the gift of fixing cars, and he will come to you, and that is the blessing of it all. Also, M&M Creative Arts is under that particular as doing a DBA under the Gilbert's Group, and we those are the top 3 things that we have on there. Then we also have CBD on top, which is my health and wellness company, where we literally provide natural nutritional sprays, CBD gummies, and our products it's not intended to get you high. It's really intended to get you in a place of taking natural products to heal you from the inside out. And that is what we do under the Gilbert Group LLC. So, if you ever wanted to connect with us, definitely do that. And you can simply connect with us by texting your name and email address to 804-829-3722.
Danielle Gilbert, she is our HR guru, business strategist, who is here with us every Monday. We kick it off, right? That's what we do. We bring the best and brightest to us. Okay, now you have information that you want to give to our listeners that's pertinent to their business. Now, you are an HR strategist, a functional, a fractional, not functional, fractional person that you can come out and help their business at different layers from, you got just items that you can help with to full blown packages. What's the topic that you want to touch on today? Because I know it's good.
Today, let's talk about emotional intelligence and how it can change your workplace, culture, your environment. What do you think about that, Mike?
Okay, let me drop this on you. So I'm from Philadelphia, and we don't win a lot of sporting events. Mm-hmm. But as a kid, we used to go to the mayor's box. Mm-hmm. My dad knew a lot of people, so I go to the mayor's box. As a kid, I don't know any better. It's like, wow, okay, the mayor comes here. Then, you get older and you go to like, okay, this is okay. Fast forward to years later, I go to the Yankees and I see their facilities. There's a difference when they won 27 championships and the Phillies have won what we have. It's culture. It's about the culture of how businesses do, whether it's sporting events, sporting teams, businesses that operate in a certain way. It's how the culture of maybe it's a standard of excellence that you really try and cultivate. The question is, how do they make that happen? And that's why I got you here, because we need it.
Yes. So that is a good analogy and a good story to share with the listeners. So as you think about what you just shared, how did that make you feel, Mike, from an emotional perspective, right? Being not a winner, not being part of the winning team.
The bad part is you really didn't know until you knew.
Right.
And then it's like, wow, it's like, okay, how do we make the change? How do we get there? It's not done overnight. Maybe it's done little parts at a time. And you don't always have to be in the lane of not being a winner. For people who know New England sports, they think Tom Brady and the Patriots, they've always been winners. And when I was young, they won nothing up there. But now it's a generation of people who think that they just win everything all the time. So you can make the change, and it's the owner or the people at the top, the leadership, who has to come in and really help to make that difference. So, what does how does Danielle Gilbert come and play into that and bring that type of information to us so we can have the winning type of organization?
Yes. So, when you think about emotional intelligence, we use emotional intelligence as human beings, but sometimes there are people that you may encounter, whether that's personal or professional, that does not possess the skill set to have emotional intelligence,
Yes.
which is what causes a lot of friction and tension and dysfunctional careers, dysfunctional relationships, because it's one of those things where if you truly don't understand what emotional intelligence is and you don't have that skill set, it becomes difficult. So, emotional intelligence is really a simple way of recognizing and understanding and choosing how we think, feel, and act. And how are we going to shape the understanding of ourselves and interact with others? So, is a skill set that allows someone to say, okay, how am I feeling today? And how am I going to think about whether I'm going to react in rage or am I going to react in a calm way that allows me to get outcomes, right? And so sometimes I remember going through a program when I was in the corporate world, and it was really around leading with values, right? And so I think about, as I talk about emotional intelligence and helping organizations understand the importance of it, I think about it's also leading with your values. It's also understanding when you're becoming hijacked. And so hijack is really when things are not aligned with what you believe in. So when people get angry, people get upset, they get outraged, is because they're not operating in their best, but they're also feeling hijacked because what they believe in is not aligned. And they don't know how to manage those feelings, to interact or to respond in a positive manner. So when we think about that in the workplace, Mike, it's so important that as leaders of your organization, as you are hiring, you are disciplinating, you're having conversations with your employees, you're doing performance management, how are you responding to them? What are you saying? Do you have high or low emotional intelligence? And a lot of individuals don't recognize the difference between high and low. So I want to pose a question to the listeners and you, Mike. Would you say you have high or low emotional intelligence?
Hi.
High. So if you said high, what would be some characteristics or things that would describe someone with high emotional intelligence?
Okay, but let me put it to you like this: because I was the only kid for a long time, I see a lot of things and notice stuff,
Hmm.
and so there is power in numbers, and that's why I rock and roll with the people that I do, because I understand it's lonely by yourself. It is, and so when you're a part of a pack, you don't have to notice everything. When you're operating by yourself, or you have to be able to see those things, and also it plays a part in somebody who's around you, like my wife plays a big part. Over 40 years, a lot of things I didn't see, or because I didn't have those people skills. It's like radio works for me because I don't have to deal with a lot of people. That's why I wear my name on everything, because that way I don't have to tell you who I am. Is That's not a strong suit. I don't Networking events, those things are hard for me. I don't want to go do that.
Yes. And so you recognize that, which is great, right? And you know how to manage the emotions that come along with, if you have to go to a networking event, you know how to operate in excellence, right? And you know how to respond, you know how to adapt. And
Yes.
because you have the ability to adapt and you have the ability to really be effective at both verbal and nonverbal cues for empathy, you would be considered someone with high emotional intelligence. And so let's think about the individuals with low emotional intelligence. These are the individuals who feel often misunderstood or underappreciated. They're often blaming people. So if you translate that into the workplace, you have individuals, right? It may be one or two out of the pack, that are constantly blaming others for their problems and difficult situations, right? They have subject to outbursts and they're having multiple levels of mood swings. They get angry, they're hostile in conflict, they like confrontation. Those are the things that you look at when you're in your organization on this person doesn't have the skill set to adapt. They don't have the skill set to have a courageous conversation without having an outburst. So
Hey,
how do you
hold on,
manage
wait,
that?
wait. That's that courageous conversation thing. Is that an industry buzzword or something? Because that's courageous. I don't know who it's courageous for. It's a tough one because when you have that person who is, I don't know what people going to call the Debbie Downer or the Donnie Downer, that brings down the emotional, that brings down the esprit de corps, the morale of the group. You as the business owner, how do you address that? Because everyone sees it and that person is toxic. We really don't have to say if the person's good, that makes it even. If they're really good at their job, maybe they know they're good. That creates even more of a problem because now they're good, but they're kind of like a diva that causes problems for the entire group. The floor is
Right.
yours, madam. Help us. We need help. We've all had that person. And if you didn't have that person, you might have been that person.
Yes, yes. So when you're thinking about courageous conversation, it is, really whether it's in the context of performance appraisals, coaching, monitoring their performance, right? It's really about being able to have enough courage to tell the person what they're doing right or wrong. And in this case, most of the times is when you're having performance conversations, is how do you as a leader ensure that you are truly being able to sit and have calm conversations. You're able to stop and listen effectively, right? You're also able to ask what is needed, and if that person does not give you what is needed or meet the expectations, here are the consequences. And a lot of times leaders in organizations, they beat around those courageous conversations because they don't have the courage to come out and say to the employee, because they want to have empathy, right? They want to not hurt that person's feelings. They want to show that they care and they want to be perceived as the person who cares about the employee. So they don't want to have the conversation. So what do, Mike? They put it under the rug. And then that's
Yes, that's exactly what you do. Because you know why? His wife had been sick. His dog, had some issues. He had some long-standing issues from when they were a kid, and all those things, come about. And you don't want the person not to like you. You want the environment to be good, so you don't address that. And what happens is more stuff goes under the rug, more stuff goes under the rug, and then there's a toxic environment.
Right. And that's how that toxic environment happens. But one great thing that, stands out from that is it's called social recognition. So when you think about emotional intelligence, it comes in 4 different quadrants. And so the quadrant that we've kind of been touching on is the social recognition part. And that is when you are showing empathy, you are picking up the moods of others. You're carrying what others are saying and doing and what they're going through. So as a leader, you may be looking at how do you do the social recognition because you want to have empathy and understand what people are going through versus having self-recognition where it's all about self-confidence. You're aware of your own emotional side and you're really paying attention to the changes in your emotional state of being. So the other 2 quadrants, or what's left in that quadrant, is a self-management and social management. So you have intrapersonal and interpersonal levels of emotional intelligence. So your inter or your intrapersonal is self-recognition, self-management. Your inter, I'm sorry, is social recognition and social management. So it's 4 quadrants, right? It's 4 boxes. If you ever look up emotional intelligence, and you have intra and inter, and they actually talk about different levels of how you feel, whether you're dealing with yourself or you're dealing with others. And the other important thing that you have to think about in your culture, in your organization, is really around the social management piece, because that is where your talent, comes in. That's where your collaboration, your team management, your team building, you're really looking at the quality of individuals that's coming into your organization and how do you effectively interact with people in the organization.
Ladies and gentlemen, Danielle Gilbert, that's why she's here dropping nuggets of knowledge like that on us, because those are important topics to cover. Those are, we really gotten into, well, I guess somebody could look at them as gray areas, but ways that you want your business to be successful. She is here with us every Monday. We kick Mondays off, right? How can people find you, Danielle Gilbert, out there?
Yes, you can find me and connect with me by simply texting your name and email address to 804-829-3722.
Okay, Danielle Gilbert, Mike King here. When I start with the Danielle, this is what I heard. Now, I have to ask you because you're an expert. We've had the conversations about, COVID is happening. You told me I can't, as the business owner, I can't ask people a bunch of questions about medical because of the HIPAA compliance, right? You told me don't look at, as a business owner, stop looking at people's social media because when they're out there on the weekend dropping it like it's hot, maybe I shouldn't do that as well, right?
Right.
Okay. Explain to the listeners out there what at will, you work for a company and it's an at will employment, that term there. And the reason I'm going on to that is because this is a sports station and ESPN sent Paul Pierce packing because of his behavior on social media.
Mm-hmm. So when you think about at will is literally where the employer, the company, has the ability to dismiss an employee without any reason, without wanting, as long as the reason is not illegal. So when an employee is being acknowledged, when they're signing their documents and say they're at will, pretty much that is saying that you understand that that company has the ability to dismiss you if desired. But what I tell, and it's in the gray area, right? People who are in HR would tell you, yes, you can dismiss an employee long as it's not illegal. But what I always like to err on the side of caution to minimize the risk, to say, yes, that gives you the right to dismiss your employee or employees without cause, but you still should have a formal disciplinary process policy in place so that employees know what's expected of them and you follow that process to minimize the risk. Because if you don't know what you don't know until you don't know it and you go terminate someone because you feel like you have the right to do so because it's at will, and then it turns out that you're thinking it's not illegal, but it is illegal, you can literally get yourself in trouble. You can be sued. So why not utilize your formal disciplinary process, document the conversations, document them if it's a verbal, a written, and then a final, and then termination. Follow that process, follow your own policies. Now, if you don't have policies in place, then you and we need to have a conversation. You need to reach out to me so that I can help you get those things in place, because literally it will help you minimize your risk if you have things in place. That does not negate that employers will still do things that are not right, but at least when you do need to discipline someone because they didn't come to work or they did a 3 days no call, no show, you have documentation and you have policies that you can use to say, this is why I dismissed this person from my company.
So we're coming to a time now. Mike King here. Danielle Gilbert is there talking HR from the business owner standpoint. We have a lot more information than we did in the past. Like I said, Paul Pierce, they sent him packing because of behaviors that they thought were not up to speed.
Right. So when you think about that, Mike, though, like employers are going onto social media, right? And they're
Right.
looking at their employees' social media page on what they're doing on the weekend. And if you have a social media policy and you have policies that says that and most individuals should just use common sense too, but that's a whole nother conversation,
because
right?
common sense ain't common.
Ain't common sense, right? So I'm gonna be mindful when I say that. But what I'm saying is that if you're working for a company And yes, you have the mindset that what I do when I get off at Friday at 5 p.m. and what I do from Friday to 5 p.m. until Sunday at midnight or whenever time you got to go back to work, that is none of my employees' business. If they have a policy and they have things in place that says that you are not allowed to do certain things that would cause a liability to your company, right? If you have a drug-free workplace policy and then you see someone that sent you a picture, you see your employee on social media smoking, right? And then you have the ability to have a random drug test and they fail because of the drug test. That is the reason. It's not because what you saw on social media, it's because your policy still allows you to say that, yes, I saw this, but then you have to have a legitimate reason to do a random drug test, but you have to have policies in place is my point. So if you have policies in place and you go see things on social media, don't use that as the only reason that you're going to terminate someone. You're terminating them because they violated the company's policies.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right?
Danielle,
It's not because they did some flips or they decided they wanted to go and drink with their buddies and take pictures. That's their business.
but it violated the policy of the company that they were aware of.
They violated it. And so if they were aware of it and the company says, so this is a good example. Let me clarify this. So if you are out with your buddies and you're drinking, say on a Friday night, you get off and you go and you have the company's shirt on, right? And you go sit at the table with your buddies at Outback and you drinking and you posting it and you having a good time, you acting, you just being you. And all of a sudden someone says, hey, Mary, I saw an employee or someone that looks like they work for your company that had the shirt on, but they've got arrested, they've gotten in trouble, and they posted on social media. That's a conversation because now you put the company's name and liability because you're out here drinking and it appears that you have the company's work shirt on.
That's true. Ladies and gentlemen, Danielle Gilbert giving us words of wisdom. How can people find you one last time?
One last time, you can connect with me, Danielle Gilbert, your virtual HR strategist at 804-829-3722. Send me your name and email so that we can connect.
Danielle Gilbert, the best in the business. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you, Danielle. Take care.
Thank you.
Tell the Gilbert ladies that said hello, and we'll talk to them soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
I see you. Take care.
Bye-bye.